As we start to return to work post-COVID-19, there's a third option between a traditional long-term office lease and a home office: co-working spaces. Joanna Baker of For Kitson Co is a member of the Independent Co-working Association of Australia. On this episode of Better Business for Good TV, Jo discusses the opportunities provided to small businesses by the growth of the co-working space phenomena. Jo explains what is co-working and why should a small business consider it. What sort of businesses does co-working suit? And how do you pick a good co-working space for your business? Find out if community, collaboration and co-working could be the next step to help grow your business.
Better Business for Good TV. By small business owners, for small business owners.
I'd just like to start by asking what co-working is. There seem to be these things popping up all over the place. What are they really?
So co-working is a fantastic concept which is about being able to share workspace and share the environment that you work in. So instead of making a commitment to a full-time lease of your own and going with the building up of your own office space, what co-working does is give you an affordable and flexible way of being able to scale up or down as you need to.
So are there different sort of levels of, I mean, it's kind of, is it sort of like you can, I think I've seen things where you can have it by the hour, you can have it by the week. How does it all work?
Absolutely. And that's the beauty of it. So from something as basic as if you're a one-man band and you're wanting to get out of your living room maybe once or twice a week, then it starts with hot desking and it goes all the way through to some of the bigger co-working spaces where you can actually have your own office within a co-working space, but still private for you. So you get all the benefits of the community and the collaboration and the shared resources, but you don't have to necessarily be owning it all yourself. So co-working has something for everyone. It was originally started as something that was very much targeted at startups and tech. Was one of the areas that first embraced it, but now it goes across the board. And I know people working in co-work that are cleaners, but then also all the way through to accounting firms that have 20 or 30 staff.
So what would be the benefit to those accounting firms with 20 or 30 staff of using a co-working space and renting an office in it, as it were, which I think I'm understanding, versus having their own premises?
There's two aspects to it. So one is from a business point of view is the practical aspect of the fact that if you don't have your own lease, then you're not having to worry about your own outgoings, your own building maintenance, your own cleaning, and that commitment to say 3 years when you don't know if your business is going to be getting bigger, if you'll be taking on more staff, or if you'll be perhaps restructuring and taking on less staff. So the good thing about co-working is that it's generally short-term leases, so anything from 1 month to 12 months. So from a practical business point of view, you have a lot more flexibility. From a social point of view, though, that's where co-working really comes into its own, because it's about collaboration. And so it gets you the opportunity to be around other businesses that perhaps are in the same space or in a different space to you. So you get that feeling, you get the new ideas, you get the collaboration, and you get the opportunity to grow by being around other people, not just people within your own team.
Kind of like some of the benefits of being part of a large organisation, but still being your own boss.
Absolutely.
Yeah. You miss that as a small business owner, the whole able to go and talk to a team, I think.
And that is one of the key things that we hear. So whenever people come to us, and within For Kitson Co, we have everything from the dedicated desk through to just the casual visit, drop in whenever you want to. And the people who drop in whenever they want to are coming because they want that social interaction. They're tired of staring at the same four walls, and they love the opportunity to just sit around in the coffee area. And coffee is key to as the lifeblood for pretty much all co-working spaces, is that shared opportunity to say, hey, so what do you do? Tell me about tell me about your business.
So we've talked about small, like startups through to larger businesses, 30 or so staff. So are there some particular niches within that co-working particularly suits, or is it just like everybody can do it?
It's a good question because, as I said, typically it had been something that tech entrepreneurs loved because they were very much about moving quickly, about being flexible, and about that collaboration and sharing. Within 4Kitson Co, we specialise in trade. So trades are probably one of the groups you wouldn't necessarily think about for co-working, but the benefits are still there for trade in terms of the flexibility and the shared space. The common professions would be SEO, website. We have a lot of finance people, insurance brokers, anyone, I guess, that doesn't have to have a specific space and has the flexibility to be able to go, say, from home to the co-work space. That it really does go across the board.
So a lot of professional services in that sense, but perhaps not your doctors and your lawyers. Well, maybe your lawyers, but not your doctors and your medical practices where they need more equipment. Is that?
I have seen, well, it's funny actually, because the concept of co-work, when we talk about it in a white-collar professional sense, people have an idea of, the office where everyone goes. But physios and allied health are a classic example of a similar thing to a co-work model, because if you think about any of those practices you go to where they've got a myotherapist, a naturopath, and a physio, a chiro working out of the same space, whilst they don't call themselves co-work, that is a similar embracing of the concept. Yeah. I would say GPs not so much, but certainly allied health, yes, we do see that.
I would have called, with my past hat on, I'd have called that a strategic partnership. It's kind of like putting people together who can work together, who have the same target market. So I guess in a sense that could cluster, which is what you've done with trades. Because as you said, tradies would be kind of an unexpected, because you would expect them to have more requirements in terms of where they put their stuff. But I think you've catered for that, haven't you?
Yes, and also one of the things about trades is that networking is important, because when you go to a building site, there is more than just one trade there. So electricians recommend carpenters, who then say, hey, I know a great plumber. And then at the end of the project, hey, who's doing the cleaning? Oh, there's some scratches on that glass. Who's going to be getting the scratches out? So within co-work, one of the key things that makes a co-work space different to just a shared space is that sense of community, and the fact that the owner or the host or the community manager of the co-work space encourages that interaction and that networking, and embraces getting people together. So it's not just a question of people sitting in the corner doing their own work. It is a sense of community, and there's an environment that facilitates that.
And I guess that would perhaps lead into the next question I was thinking about, is how you pick a good co-working space for you. Because I imagine, in fact, I've seen co-working spaces that didn't do what you just said, where it is just, you can rent a desk and in you go, and that's the end of it. I love what you were talking about in terms of actually putting people together who can work together. I think that's so much more powerful, and that gets so much extra value. So could you sort of explore for perhaps a little bit the whole concept of finding the right co-working space?
And that's a really good question, Brenda, because there is a difference between co-working, a basic serviced office, or shared space. And co-working is about community. So a co-working space, if that's what you're looking for is a place where they have a particular audience and a particular focus on making sure that that audience comes together as a community, as opposed to a business that would define itself as a serviced office where everyone has their own little divisions and you just go in and sit where you sit, or shared space, for example, where you get a key and there's nobody there to show you around. So one of the things within the co-working world is that we tend to have an audience, and we're very particular about our niche and what we promise to our audience. So if I give you an example, say in Frankston, we have 5 co-working spaces. And so one is about female entrepreneurs and is a nurturing space for females. One is very much about health and wellness, and so providing a community for people in that health and wellness space. As I've said, at 4Kitson Co, we are about trades. So it's not that we don't welcome other people, it's just that that's the organisation that we say, hey, look, we really cater to the the networking functions, the social functions, and the things that are important to trades. We also have one that's just launching in Carrum, which is about startups. So it's very much about, hey, if you are just starting up, we want you. And of course, the classic in Frankston has been the Foundry. They were the first, and they were about startup as well. So it was about nurturing entrepreneurship.
I do love a good niche.
Yes.
That whole concept of niching just works so much better than trying to be an umbrella. I mean, you just clarified a huge distinction in my head between a serviced office and a co-working space.
Yeah, and a co-working space needs a community manager. So I'm part of Independent Co-working Australia. So we're 67 independently owned co-working spaces around the country. And so we're all entrepreneurs ourselves that have got this passion for connection and community. And so we run our spaces as the central person who is just as passionate about making sure that the members within our space are growing and developing and getting what they want as we are about monthly leases. But then again, serviced offices, they may have a receptionist, and there are some of the bigger, more corporate places that call themselves shared spaces and co-work, and they will employ community managers whose job it is to organise events and to make sure that the members are getting more than just a spot to put their desk.
You have been watching Better Business for Good TV by small business owners for small business owners. Previous episodes can be found in the Better Business Builders Community Resource Library at bb4g.co/community.